1, 2, is this on?
Sometimes wrestling fans can get a bit too close for comfort.
You go to a man's front door, all bets are off. It's just, I'm sorry. Like, that's, you're overstepping. Well, Maven, I'm a fan. I watch it weekly. I just wanted to it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They might overstep boundaries by touching the wrestlers or by pursuing them relentlessly online and even in person.
All of a sudden, Brock walks into the changing room and he looks at us, he goes, "This kid keeps following me around, he's really pissing me off." Brock walks past us and goes into the toilet area of the changing room. Suddenly, all you hear is, "Are you trying to see my fucking penis?" Followed by this terrified 16-year-old running out of there, through the door, never to be seen of again.
Others have vandalized property and attempted to fight talent for real.
And I said, "If you throw that brick at my car, I will run you over and kill your ass."
For this video, we'll be highlighting various incidents that have taken place over the years.
Had a young girl up there in Canada contacted me and would just pursue me. And contacting WWE and contacting the other wrestlers, pretending that she was other people, and then everything she could do. It was insane.
We're focusing on stories you might not know about, as we list 10 creepy fans who harass wrestlers. Chris Jericho has had a few infamous confrontations with fans throughout his career, but one that isn't talked about as much is when he nearly came to blows with a guy outside of a New York City concert in July 2017.
I ain't going nowhere now, you get off my block. How about that? I'm from Atlanta and I run this. Understand that. You don't get beat in New York City tonight. Fuck is you talking about?
Chris was attending a tribute show for his friend who passed away. Emotions were already high, so when a pushy fan got too close for comfort, it resulted in a shouting match.
I want to tell you congratulations, nigga. Hands. No, fuck your hands on. You say what? You say what? Fuck your shit. Hit me, I'ma sleep your bitch. Fuck White House.
A week later, Y2J addressed the incident on his Talk is Jericho podcast.
I had it this week where I was at a memorial concert for a friend of mine who passed away. So the guy was asking me some questions and being kind of pushy, and I just basically I'd had enough. And I told him go away, and he got mad at me, so I started yelling at him, screaming at him. You know, I was really frustrated because I was in a bad state of mind because my friend had passed away. And the next thing you know, it's up on TMZ. Jericho yells at fan, drops F-bombs, and it's like, it's so funny.
Oh, God. You have to understand we're human, too.
Yeah, exactly, man. We're human. And you come at me at a time when my friend has passed away early in his life. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not in a good mood, and you keep pushing.
But that's the whole thing. They don't care about that. They just want to get you in that news that you went crazy.
Chris said that the fan overstepped his boundaries, and that the man's subsequent reaction forced things to spiral out of control. Given how Jericho was already upset about his late friend, the fan's behavior made Chris snap. Luckily, things didn't get physical, but they easily could have given the circumstances, especially with only one security guard being present while multiple fans mouthed off. Heels can potentially have dangerous run-ins with crazed fans, since these people might dislike the wrestler for real. JBL has spoken about a man that went too far trying to contact him. The person in question harassed John in an offensive and derogatory manner. Somehow they got hold of Layfield's phone number. Then once they realized it was actually him, the individual continuously called and sent awful text messages. Thankfully, they were ultimately caught after they slipped up when failing to cover their tracks. In this case, it didn't go beyond calls and texts. But who knows what could have happened had the guy not slipped up. Bradshaw explained the situation on the Something to Wrestle podcast.
I tell you, I had a guy that stalked me for a couple, not stalked me, but he would send me like stupid messages, get my phone number somehow. I told WWE about it. It was all racial stuff. He sent me horrible racist stuff. He called me one time from a number that was listed, and I got his number. And they had the state troopers at his house within a couple hours, and it stopped. But that's how you got to stop it. These guys are idiots. A person that is not mentally stable that would stalk a person. And they need to be locked up and taken out of society.
Back in the territory days, some fans hated the heels so much, they wanted to get at them for real. But if they did, the consequences were quite severe. Not in terms of intervention from law enforcement, but rather from the wrestlers themselves. That's because the police allowed the wrestlers to have their way with fighty fans once they were caught.
If the fans got unruly and just, if they ever hit the wrestlers or anything like that, the police reach over and snatch the fan and haul them into like a little holding area right there and bring that fan in and just throw him in there too, and you just beat the hell out of him.
Jerry Lawler also details a time where a fan armed with a brick was waiting for the king after a show. Lawler was about to get into his car when he spotted the onlooker, who was ready to cause harm.
And I said, "If you throw that brick at my car, I will run you over and kill your ass." Here comes the brick. slammed on the gas, and then my car went. I got out and all 4 tires had been cut.
Like Lawler, Edge also had his tires slashed and car damage during the height of his heel run, though luckily he was never near the vehicle when any of this occurred. This started happening in 2005 during the real-life love triangle between Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy. The Rated R superstar detailed this on the Edge and Christian Pod of Awesomeness.
When I was full bore running heel, you know, I had my tires slashed a few times. Yeah. I had a lot of eggs and you know, milkshakes thrown on my rental cars. But it was interesting one time. It was in our parking lot after Miami, and I came out and my car was trashed. And I was like, okay, well, who did that and who didn't see that? You know. Yeah. So that was probably somebody in the dressing room that, you know, just doesn't have a set.
Edge's tires being slashed at a show in Columbia, South Carolina was one of the catalysts for Matt's firing. That's because Hardy's enemy, Joey Abs, spread a false rumor that Matt put a hit out on Edge. This found its way back to the office, who then fired Hardy. In reality, it was an angry fan that cut Edge's tires. Fresh off his release, Matt shed light on the saga during an interview with Wade Keller.
And I had no idea about it. It was somewhere in Columbia, South Carolina, wherever he stayed there. And I was going, that's great. I said, well, that makes my day. Yeah. That's exactly what I told her. Yeah. And I mean, she can tell from talking to me, even when she told him, that it was obvious that I didn't know anything about it. I had no concept. They thought that I automatically either did it, which it would have been physically impossible for me to do it on my own. Yeah. And then, or that I had somebody do it for me. Yeah. And I didn't. Yeah. And the thing that happens is that the office, I think that was the final straw. And like saying that there was going to be too much trouble and that I was going to end up being released.
Brock Lesnar is one of the last people you'd expect fans to creep on. For one, he's rarely out in public. However, speaking on Inside the Ropes, Wade Barrett recalls a time where Brock worked out at a regular gym with a few of the wrestlers. While there, an unwanted visitor constantly hovered around the beast.
All of a sudden, Brock walks into the changing room and he looks at us, he goes, this kid keeps following me around every time I get on a machine. He comes next to me every time I go on a bench. He comes and sits next to me. He's really pissing me off.
The gym goer tracked down Lesnar in the locker room. Brock had just finished his workout while the fan tiptoed behind him. He was going to do whatever it took to get a glimpse of the beast in all his glory.
Brock walks past us and goes into the kind of the bathroom, the toilet area of the changing room. He goes around the corner. So we're finishing up, and then suddenly this nervous 16-year-old looking nerdy kid pops his head round the locker room, and then suddenly he spots the toilet area, which is just round the corner from where we're at. And this kid kind of stumbles past.
The youngster finally had Lesnar alone, so the fan probably thought it'd be a good time to finally approach and greet Brock, but it was a case of wrong place, wrong time, wrong person, as the beast lashed out with rage.
Walks around the corner. Suddenly all you hear is, "Are you trying to see my fucking penis?" Followed by this terrified 16-year-old running out of there, through the door, never to be seen of again.
Al Snow had a few brutal stalkers that invaded his private life. The first one wrote a blog about him on the internet in the late 90s. This woman had created a fictional life with Al in her mind that she documented on the web. Since the internet was still in its infancy, fans weren't sure if this blog was true or not. Snow's wife even confronted him about the site. Al couldn't believe what he saw when he looked at the blog for the first time. Snow revealed all while talking to the Hannibal TV.
You know, and she was substantiating all this because she was taking clips of information from interviews that I had done about, oh, my favorite cereal is Lucky Charms. So she was peppering in those little facts to where when people would read it, it was believable because it sounded like she knew me. I had never met that woman in my entire life. She had an entire life with me that was completely fictionalized.
She even went as far as to contact Al's co-workers and friends from his personal life.
Had a young girl up there in Canada. This was back on MySpace. Back in those days, and contacted me and would just pursue me and contacting WWE and contacting the other wrestlers, pretending that she was other people, and then everything she could do. It was insane. I spoke to her, and she has a lot of, you know, she had a lot of emotional issues. Poor girl.
I'll discuss the type of person who commits such acts. People who are mentally sick but find comfort and pleasure in the wrestlers. They might form a one-way bond with the stars because the talent on screen often closely reflects the real-life person, so the fan gets attached and feels like they know them in some way.
For these people, emotionally, it's like they're drowning, and you're that single point of hope. You're that light at the end of the tunnel, and they will drag you under in efforts to save themselves. They don't care. and you can't stop them, you know.
Some fans have taken it upon themselves to show up at wrestlers' front doors looking for autographs and pictures. Certain wrestlers have obliged, likely to prevent a scene or cause further incident. Randy Orton was rightly pissed when a man appeared outside his house in 2025 during a live stream on his YouTube channel. Maven Huffman spoke about the incident while stating the boundaries fans should adhere to.
There's a lot of things I can excuse going to where someone lives, where their family lives, because we just live in a world where you unfortunately don't know what someone's intent, what their long-term goal is. And you just can't trust people. I hate that we live in that world.
Maven has said he appreciates the fans, but trespassing on a wrestler's property goes beyond anything reasonable.
You go to a man's front door, all bets are off. It's just, I'm sorry. Like, that's, you're overstepping. Well, Maven, I'm a fan. I watch it weekly. I just wanted to it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Huffman also related a story where an armed thief once approached his home looking to steal money since they knew Maven was a pro wrestler. They ultimately didn't take anything, but Huffman reiterated how you never know what a person's intentions are, especially someone that's willing to show up at a wrestler's house.
Imagine all the things you love in life, everything that you hold sacred, and then think for 1 second that someone's about to harm or take that away from you. What are you doing to protect that? Randy doesn't know what this person's intent was. Randy doesn't know what this person's frame of mind is. Randy also doesn't know what this person has on him.
Autograph signings and conventions are a chance for the fans to get up close and personal with the wrestlers, but herein lies the risk, since this can be an opportunity for those with ill intentions to do something sinister. Luckily, security is always right there, and they may have saved Mr. Kennedy, aka Ken Anderson's life, at a TNA signing in the 2010s. They spotted and disarmed a guy that had a weapon. The individual was next in line to meet Ken, so who knows what could have happened. Anderson remembered the incident while appearing as a guest on the Kurt Angle show.
And one time, one of the security guys, Ronnie, came up to me and he was like, "Hey, check this out." And it was like a little bullet, like a .223 round, and it was fashioned into like a blade. It had a knife in it, and he was like, "I just pulled this off somebody that was trying to get in the ring to sign with you." He said, "I saw the guy with this little, I saw like something metal sticking out of his hand, and I said, 'Hey, what's in your hand?' And he said nothing, and then he grabbed him and said, 'What's in your hand?' And he opened up, and he was like, 'What were you going to do with this?' And he's like, I was going to have him sign it."
A penultimate example saw security intervene just in the nick of time. Following the August 27, 2015 SmackDown, Dean Ambrose greeted fans following his match with Sheamus. With the show off the air, Ambrose shook hands, signed autographs, and took pictures. Suddenly, a fan hopped the rail and tried to touch Dean. Fortunately, the security guard, who was shadowing Ambrose, reacted quickly. They detained the individual before anything could happen. The rumor going around online was the fan had a blade on him. Whatever the case, the security did their job and acted fast, thus preventing anything dangerous from happening. Lastly, we'll look at a similar incident where the fan wasn't armed, but did manage to put their hands on the wrestlers. This took place after the March 24, 2025 Raw. CM Punk and Cody Rhodes said goodbye to the fans, but both were inappropriately touched by an OnlyFans model named Morgan Moore. Despite Punk and Cody telling her to stop multiple times, the girl kept grabbing them until security intervened. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our similar video on 10 WWE wrestlers who were bullied backstage for real. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.